One thing I do every year is I redo my marquee every couple of years, actually. After we did the first design based on the Sullivan's, the Strasium Productions, we turned it into Sullivan's Projects. So that's S for Sullivan, P for Projects. And the first time I just had a square board, I had printed out at Kinko's off of a TIFF file. And the TIFF file is actually still the master. What I did was I discovered after I went to green screening the next year that since it had so much yellow in it, that it kind of had a green tint to almost like a gold. It would bleed through in green screening, so you could see behind it. And I didn't realize how genius it was, but when I moved it around and stuff, you could see the background would stay the same, and yet you could actually see the background through it. So what I decided to do after green screening the next year was just change the colors to one that it wouldn't bleed through in green screening. So that's how we got the pink one you saw the next year. A little bit smaller, actually. I burned both of those, I think, in the end of 2013 up on Mount Lemon. And then I went to this new one in 2014. And this one here is based in blue. All I did was I took the original gold and blue. I just inversed the colors. So that's how you got this one here. And so what is now blue used to be gold. What is now, I guess that's almost a gold here, more like a pink. But that was actually blue in the beginning. So we just inversed the colors. And that worked out really well with green screening. But this one here has come to its end. So what I did this time was I actually put the acrylic behind it, styrene I think it may be. I just took a bunch of mounting tape and mounted the whole thing on there. Then I cut it out, this way off the original square. And this one here is back to the original size, by the way. And so the reason this one has to go is because the back of it's all cracked up. This whole section here is missing. I could probably find it, put it back together. But this one here is kind of seen the end of its usefulness. So we're gonna say goodbye to this one, and we're gonna keep the backing. Well, actually, we probably won't. But yeah, this one's headed into the trash tonight. I already have a new one, and I'll show you that one right now. This is going to be cut out and put onto the poster board. And from there, we'll just go through the whole process. We'll put a backing on it, two-sided tape, cut it out with X-Acto knife, so you can see it through it. And that's that. So thanks very much for serving me 14, 15, 16, 17 for 4 years. It's time for a new one. This one has been really good to me. So that's the end of that one. So for 2018, we're going to have a brand new one for you. God bless. Well, hello and welcome very much to the Sullivan's Projects year in review for the month of January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December of 2017. I always say that I wait until the first of the year to actually do the year in review. All the national news people are always doing their stuff. The entertainment people are all doing their stuff. Somewhere right before Christmas, I guess, to cover programming while we were away. I always wait until the end of the year. Always something happens at the end of the year. In the case of the news, we had a shooting in Colorado. 5 deputies, 4 were injured and will recover. One named Deputy Zachary Parrish has perished and left behind a wife and 2 daughters. At the same time, my Chiefs won game 16. I think they ended up 10-6. They had a really bad streak in the middle. We didn't think they'd make it, but they did. They had a really good, strong ending, and they made it to the playoffs. And hopefully, for once, they won't choke in the playoffs. But right after the regular season ended, I got word that my Uncle Tim, who's my dad's twin brother, has passed away at age 84, and that's very sad. I think if I had to define 2017 in one word, it would just be pain. It was just a year of pain. It started out easy enough and optimistically enough. I had just gotten out of ICU right before Christmas of 2016, and it was thought at the time I was in ICU that I'd be on a walker and oxygen, and as it turned out, I was able to go back to work when my FMLA had expired on the 5th of January, and after that, I started having difficulties with my intestines and my systems, and as a result of that, it just came to be where I couldn't make it to work, or I was missing too much work. So they were very generous and gave me a computer where I could work from home, and at one point I did that. It went in once a week or so whenever they had meetings. The downside of that, of course, was that I still had a hard time just making it at work at home, and so in early March that job ended. I struggled for several months and finally got like a part-time gig, stocking cards maybe for 4 hours a week over the summer. Got a new job with something I'm very good at, and that's insurance, in September. And as a result of that, that was actually in August. I think it was August 13th, August 18th. I think is when I started. I started a week late, like I always did, and got 3 weeks of training. Went by, and next thing you know, I totaled my car on the way to work, looking into the sun, hit a curb too hard. I was at the same time doing the fundraiser for HTSA, and so we dumped the car for $200, worth more in parts. I had a full tank of gas and a brand new battery in it. And I think the only big problem was the control rods were going out, and when I did finally hit the curb, it just knocked the whole transmission apart. And so it would roll, it just wouldn't go into gear. So I decided it would cost too much to repair than it was worth, so I just ditched it. A couple weeks later, got out and got a car in Tucson, and that's the one that I have now. I really miss the old Avalon. I really miss that sunroof. but my health just continually kept getting worse over the years, or over the months. Just more and more pain. And so it got to the point in the last 2 months of the year, I just decided I would apply for disability. And in doing so, very limited funds were available to me. The only funds I really had were from Navy retirement, from generous neighbors, and from family, whatever family I had left at that point. I think by the end of the year, I'd realized that a lot of my family had just pretty much ripped me off years ago, and so I was pretty much dead to them. And it just finally, it just came to my senses that they really didn't want anything to do with me anymore. So that's that. So just the whole year was just defined by pain all the way through the 1st of January, which is today. I have, at their request, eliminated all historical records of their existence. I can see their point. You know, I can. I was in the Navy for 20 years. I was pretty much disappeared off the face of the earth for about a year and a half before I joined the Navy. While I was in the Navy, I was always overseas, or away, or on a ship in the middle of the ocean somewhere, flying in the middle of nowhere. For 20 years I did that, and when I came back to America and retired, I did so in Florida. I was the only one in my family living there at the time. Came out to Arizona, where I do have a brother out here, and his kids are out here in Arizona now, and grandkids. And I I had to move to Marana, not Tucson. I had to move to Sierra Vista, not Marana, because that was Pima County. All sorts of things landed me out here all by myself here in Cochise County. So at this point, 2018 will be the year of finding a new network of family and friends. I've done that to some degree during 2017. 2018, we'll see. Anyways, let's take you real quickly through a tour of January of 2017. Hi, this is John Sullivan from Sullivan's Projects, and yes, that is my car way down there. I'm at lovely hometown of Sierra Vista, and here we are back up at Car Canyon. Went and saw my physical therapist today. He gave me the green light to go to medium speed on physical therapy, and so I was able to walk about 3 miles from my car up here to the waterfall up at Car Canyon, and it was so nice. Tomorrow will be my first day back at work, so I will miss being up here during the weekdays very much, but on weekends I'll still be up here, maybe not this high till they reopen the road, but I'll be back up here. God bless. And it's kind of sort of good to be back to work tomorrow, but I sure will miss being up on Car Canyon during the weekday. It's been good exercise. So that'll do it. And guys, that was really a kind of an interesting nothing happened month. Car Canyon was still closed. Just like I said, Januaries are always kind of the slow months for me as far as filming anyway, and that year is no different. And we'll take you down to February 2017. And once again, February is also pretty slow. They did open Car Canyon back up, which was very good for me. Happy birthday to you. But you never heard that before. Let's try one of my other favorite songs. I'm not so good at it either. Let's try something else. I know. Let's start where I was started out before. It's also one of my original songs, actually. Hey, you see this space stuff? This was actually painted by a friend of mine in the space business. And she and a couple of the astronaut friends on my Facebook page got together and bought me this. This is actually a really cool painting, but just look up Lucy West Studios, you'll see that. She's really good. a song from Mary Ann for her birthday. I really don't know, you know? Could be anything. Just sit right back and you hear a tale, the tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic. I'll now take you to March 2017. That was the month that I ended up losing my job I'd had for so long, and really just had to regroup and reorganize and see if I could find something locally, which really I just at one point didn't want to. So what I decided to do in March, April through May was to put out my old books for revenue. Liberty 72, When Battleships Fly was released in March, I believe. Okay, guys. I've described this in words many times, but it's probably better if I show it to you in pictures. What's going on here? The multi-purpose ship car, which is a much larger, much newer version of a human-manned ship than what Liberty 72 is, came out of orbit under attack, and they ended up disabled there. So they built this huge city that's got television stations and broadcasts and everything else. And that's an urban center called Carsville down there. It's based on a real Mexican city that you can see pretty well at night from up here. There's a border. We're just going to use the existing border fence between Mexico and the United States for that. We're also going to make this road down here a river. Libertyville itself, well, I talk about it all the time. Libertyville is this area down here with the kind of thinned out trees. And I've actually been down there a lot shooting avatars and stuff like that. There's a little stream coming down through this canyon. It comes down right through the middle of that. And that's where we've been intending to take. That's one of the few places we're going to take A-roll cast and crew out there and film a remote. It's going to be right there. Now, Libertyville has a little large landing shuttle near it, and that's where the kids go out and play after school. It's not that far. We're going to put it out there in a little farm field out there. See that little ranch? Sorry about the wind, guys. What they do is they learn how to make that thing fly, and they discovered through history tapes that for 200 Earth years, Liberty 72 has been all this time stuck up right up in here. So they fly up in here every day, and it's all seen from Carsville with great interest. And they end up right there on that thing. Now, where Liberty 72 is going to be at, that's not Cart Canyon. It's a couple miles, a couple mountain ranges away. But we're going to make that the life-size back south side of where this ship is. And as you can see, they can't believe it's been up there for so long, but you can't see it from Libertyville or from down south in Carsville. They just know something's up there, and they see this large landing shuttle go up there every day. Well, 11 years later, these kids at school, you know, they go to school still to graduate, and I think the 6 kids we start out with are 24 years old. They decided to go fly that thing back to Earth. So you can see a lot of scenery of that thing taking off and going into space. And once they're up in space, what they do is they just do a little parabolic suborbital arc, come back, corkscrew right straight back down through the atmosphere, and they will land out there at Taylor Ranch. So this all happens actually when they're kids. So I think they're 13 in 7th grade when they fly Liberty 72 to space and back for the first time. But from there, they go up into orbit and leave and go back to Earth. That's kind of how the story goes around here. It's really such a beautiful place. So we also decided to make it a tale of two cities, because Libertyville is, you know, urban, and this is like a farming community, kind of simple people. Like I said, they don't have broadcast towers or anything here, but they don't get along very well with the city folks down there. And there's always a risk that the larger city would want to come up here and annex this place, especially since trade goes bad, and they'd have to learn how to grow crops down there. But anyways, this is going to be it. This is going to be the Libertyvilles we're going to be featuring in the movie. We're just going to be inserting it all CGI right there where that thin dot tree area is. It's also where that stream's going through. And the big event in April of 2017, of course, was the, let's see, 0616. It was the, yeah, it was the 21st year of Sullivan's projects as an independent production company. It started out in 1996 as Specs Productions, which was really a cool name. I didn't even know it meant for anything. I guess it's just turned out to be a Swedish name for theater, SPEX. It was actually an acronym for Sullivan's Personal Experiment, that's right. But we ran with that title all the way through 2003 when we decided to go down to the Clearwater area, and at that point we regrouped everything into a TV series for the Endless Wonder stuff, which was a spinoff of the Liberty 72 movies and books. And that ran for about a year and a half and ended very, very badly. But I did keep I did keep that new name. It was actually designed in a hotel room close to my house, my brother's house in Atlanta, Georgia, and that's where you got the symbol that went like this, and it's spelled out SP for Strazian Productions. So that lasted all the way till 2010 or 2011. We're going to keep that with a new title called Sullivan's Projects, and it's still running strong after 21 years, but April was the anniversary month of that. So that was the big celebration month that we actually put out my favorite at the time, Liberty 72 book and movie project, which was called Hidden Treasures. That was always my favorite one. Just so much stuff going on in that one. And just it was almost like comparing the motion picture versus the Wrath of Khan as far as the improvement, as far as how the storyline went. And I really enjoyed that one to this day. And I decided in May I was going to put out the last one. It was Endless Wonder. And Endless Wonder was actually very, very interesting because I'd actually decided that to be the the jump off point to the TV series. I had decided that very early on in moving to Pensacola. It was actually all filmed up in the Pensacola area, but when we went down to Clearwater, we had intended. I mean, I took like $3,000 worth of moving stuff down to Florida. It was all movie sets and models and costumes and stuff like that. So we were all ready to go for the TV series, and we had a really good time filming that at various locations, depending much more on boilerplate stock footage, that kind of thing for the series. And it was a lot of work to do 22 episodes a season. We only actually did like half of that for the second season. It ended abruptly with a quickly rushed together ending that did not end well for the ship. So that happened in we did the original book and did not do the series. But when I put out the book this time in April, what we decided to do was to take the best parts of the series, wrap it up into the end of the original Endless Wonder story. And so you really have the whole encapsulation of the whole movie and a year and a half of the TV series, minus the way it ended. So what I decided to do was change the ending into something that we could come up with another film that was already being produced right here in Cochise County. And that film was called Liberty 72: The Viking Club. And sure enough, we'll end with May as being the really cool month that right at, I think it was Memorial Day, we finally wrapped up the reproduction and the re-release of the original 3 stories. Hi guys, Cochise County. This is a night view of the stars up here on Car Canyon. Enjoy. And June is always a very exciting month for me for a number of reasons. The first being, that's when Space Fest always comes to the Tucson area. And the last couple of years I was very sick, and even this time I had bought tickets for all 4 days. Was only able to make 2 of them, but I was able to get a lot of great interviews with astronauts. And it turns out that I did not actually interview Richard Gordon this year. Dick Gordon was the guy who flew around the moon on Apollo 12 as Alan Bean and somebody else went down to the surface. And Alan Bean and Dick Gordon were always inseparable friends. I think the time they were separated when Richard was circling the moon and Alan was on the surface was the only time was the furthest those two had ever been apart. But they got back together, came back from the moon to the Earth, and pretty much were just bosom buddies all the way through the end of Richard's life. Unfortunately, Alan normally comes to this thing. His art was there, This year his wife was very sick, so he couldn't make it, but his art did. But Richard did make it. I didn't get a chance to interview him this year, but I did just kind of hang out and film him from a distance. Welcome to the Sullivan's Projects Space Fest 2017. This is Nicole Stott, STS 128, STS 129, STS 133, and I'm going to pay her $40 today for a signature because she is donating it all to charity. The only person here doing it.
Project.
Space Fest.
Space Fest, looking for his ID.
One of these.
Yep, perfect.
Hey, white and blue. God bless America.
God bless America, that's right.
Thanks.
And I want you to know that
Captain McCandless again. Very nice to see him here. Once again at Space Fest, and what an awesome guy he is. And he has the best footage of setting the new record, even beating Mercury as being the world's smallest spacecraft. And it will take quite a lot to beat that.
Thank you.
God bless you, sir. Welcome very much back to Tucson, and hope to see you back next year.
Thank you.
The awesome doctor, if you ever see her 3 missions, they were just fantastic.
Oh, thanks so much. Thanks so much.
And she revolutionized medicine. And when I had cancer last year, they did this ultrasound on me that it turns out she invented. So that's another great NASA spinoff for you. God bless you. Thanks for coming. There's Karen and Mr. Gordon again. Hi there. How are you doing? Great. All right. Out of all your awesome shuttle flights, which one did you like the best?
The one, I guess, that had the biggest challenge and the biggest degree of difficulty was the mirror docking. With the
mirror
Martians. Language barrier, 2 different mission controls.
Also, that was one of the few shuttle flights in that area that took off on the 51.6, right, or somewhere near that, because the mirror wasn't in the 28.5.
We were only the second one to go to 51.6. Yeah.
Isn't that awesome? Well, great to meet you, sir. And welcome to Southwest Airlines, or whatever Signature Air, or whoever you're flying with now. You just have a rule up for flight. As somebody who flew in the Navy for 4 years, here is Captain Hoot Gibson, the most awesome naval aviator in history. Good to meet you, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Once again, Mr. Charlie Walker.
It is.
It is. Good to see you again, sir. Thanks very much for coming back. Well, I'm doing really great.
Yes.
That was an awesome interview you did yesterday with Amy.
Thank you.
And I got myself in the frame right before that. And I got more hits.
You bombed it?
I got more hits on my face since Muhammad Ali last boxed. So thanks very much for that. That was a really awesome interview you did.
Pleasure. Always fun.
Okay. Good to see you, sir.
Support space.
You got it.
Farther, faster.
Well, that's another guy I got to meet while I'm here, Rick Sternbach. Look at his biography here. Graphic designs for Star Trek Nemesis, Star Trek Voyager, Deep Space Nine. That's just a start. In my Liberty 72 fiction, there's a place called Sternbach Spaceport. And guess what? Sternbach Spaceport was named after this guy. Great stuff. Hi, this is John Sullivan from Sullivan's Projects. We're very honored today to have Mr. Rick Sternbach here. Everybody already knows who he is, but I'll just repeat it for you. He had a lot to do with the production work of the redesign of the Moog's version of the Enterprise. He was also very important in Deep Space Nine, Voyager. He also was the main production guy for that awesome movie Star Trek Nemesis. And he's also he's a very, very important person in the space industry. He even gives NASA a lot of great ideas on what to do go up there. And as you can see, he's also a very, very talented artist. And he had this stuff nailed way before the graphics design business became as good as it is. So he's just always been very naturally talented. And just wanted to say hi and thanks very much. We have Alan Bean work here, we have Lucy West work here, but absolutely nothing I've seen like what we're looking at right here. So very nice to meet you, sir. Would you like to say hi to the Space Fest 8 crowd?
Yeah, you bet. I've been a Space Fest follower for years and years. I was not going to miss this one for anything. I love doing space and science fiction. Star Trek was maybe a 15-year detour away from real space, but even in Star Trek, we made sure you know, in talking with the writers and the producers, to keep the technology at least plausible, even 200 years in the future.
That's really awesome. And once again, welcome to Southern Arizona, my home, and you're always welcome to come back anytime. Very glad to meet you at last.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot.
Goodbye. Thanks, sir.
Misunderstood.
Do you have time for a real quick interview?
Very quick.
Very quick, okay. This is Captain Paul Weitz of the United States Navy, and we do certainly appreciate him coming here, enjoying wonderful Southern Arizona. If you don't remember, which I'm sure you do, back in the 70s, he was having a lot of fun up there in Skylab 2, running around the track of a third stage Saturn V. Later on, went on to STS-6. And so he is one of the very few people, add that to Vance Brand, who has flown both the shuttle program and the Apollo program. And I just wanted to know if you had any opinions on the differences between the two, or the similarities, or what you thought of as being one of the very few people to fly both.
No, well, Skylab was obviously basically a habitat checkout, primarily interested in the effects of prolonged periods of weightlessness
Right.
on the human body. Where in the shuttle flight, we went up to do a job. It was the first flight of the shuttle Challenger. We did some engineering tests and evaluations, and also did the first spacewalk, EVA, using the new design shuttle pressure suits, which Story Musgrave and Don Peterson did.
And we do love Story.
Well, yeah, everybody does, one way or the other. Okay.
Well, thank you very much for that. When you went to Skylab 2, you found you had to do some repairs almost immediately because of a heating issue or electricity issue, correct?
Well, that's right, yes. We had to free the stuck solar wing eventually, which wasn't successfully accomplished on launch day. But we managed to get in, make it habitable, and get on to the total repairs, final repairs later on, halfway through the mission.
Well, for everybody who doesn't know, Challenger was actually a very different bird than Columbia, much lighter, improved materials, and a much different design, so that it really was a prototype on that flight. And I just wanted to thank you once again for your awesome service in giving us the pioneer for what later became the Mir Space Station, International Space Station, and all the rest. Thank you very much for all you did, sir.
Well, you're welcome. You're most welcome.
Have a great day. Appreciate it.
As a seamstress, right?
Somebody told me yesterday this was actually in space.
This was the most difficult thing for them to do. It was really difficult. So we did into like a hexagon, and then they had to lay it out on the pattern. So it was.
The reason we're here is for Flag Day. So God bless you guys. Please enjoy this, and not really much more to add other than still struggling with the VA to get seen. Apparently I have an appointment on Tuesday I didn't know about, but I'll call and find out what that's about. And that'll be that, because I still have some more work to get done. I'm just working part-time now for interesting company. No more than like 4 hours a week. It's not that much, but it's something. Book sales. Thanks very much for watching or purchasing Liberty 72 When Battleships Fly, Liberty 72 Hidden Treasures, Liberty 72 Endless Wonder, and just released this month, since the last mid-month review, Liberty 72 The Viking Club. Most of it filmed right here in Cochise County for the movie version. I'm feeling better this month finally. As you can tell, I'm looking better too. Really did enjoy the Space Fest from end to end. Can't wait for the next one. The doctor said I had a 15% chance of living to see Christmas, and when Christmas rolled around I was on a walker on oxygen just out of a ICU, but I'm doing a lot better now, thank God. I really got set back in March, but it looks like it's turning around finally. So God bless. We'll see you guys next month. Thanks for watching.